Thomas, it's good to have you back on the podcast again. How you doing?
Likewise. I'm glad to be here. It's been a while. We've always said that we'd do another one, but we never really got around to it. So no, it's good to be here, even if it's only for a few minutes. It's really good.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for having me on. So
you're
we sort of discussed about what we talk about today, and the big thing that's on everyone's mind is lockdown and coronavirus. So I mean the main title from the BBC today states, COVID-19 English lockdown may last beyond 2nd of December, says Michael Gove. And that's an absolute killer. Like, I wasn't surprised it was going to happen. I mean, I was pretty annoyed that I didn't get to go to the car boot with Liam because of tier 3 lockdown. But now it looks like we're going to be repeating the whole lockdown process all over again. It sucks, man, It's jobs down the drain, as we were just saying, weren't we, about the barbers? They're going to be shut for ages. Good lads at the barbers, now they're going to be out of work, no real income. But I think the government is sort of subsidising. Is it 80? Are they doing the 80%, or is it 2/3 of people's normal wages? I think it is in this lockdown.
I saw 80% on Sky News. I mean, I don't know if that's permitted to change, because I know they did 80% and it went down to 60 previously. I think it was 60.
I mean, 100% for a lot of people, isn't even enough, and these companies, like utility companies, that they're not really giving much leeway to people who are suffering from financial issues at the hands of something like coronavirus if they're out of work. I mean, you might get a little bit of a payment break or something like that, but it's nothing substantial. You don't get a discount on the service that they're offering you. So what I'm seeing, at least, is people losing their jobs, their money's going down, but their household bills are staying the same. And the government have really got to try and bridge that gap, and I hope they do it. But then after, once all of this has been resolved, what we're going to see is we're going to start seeing higher tax rates to pay for it all afterwards, because obviously the country's been in a lot of debt by then, and then it'll be people like just people like me and you getting taxed to the high heavens to pay for it.
I agree.
I think it probably could have been avoided, this lockdown, though, if people actually followed the rules. Like, I literally just saw on Lad Bible that it was, so yesterday was Saturday, so Saturday, the police shut down a legal rave, and it was like 100 people or something. I'm not 100% sure. There's a lot of people.
Where was this?
Probably London. No surprises there. Here it is. Violent crowds / police van tires as cops swoop on huge illegal raves across UK. Like, why are you taking out on the police? It's just people are so selfish and they want like a night of fun, and they're willing to harm the police to get that. It's just weird. Like,
the police are just doing their job at the end of the day. They're just doing what kind of enforcing what the government are putting in place. And
100%.
It's not their fault at the end of the day. They're just doing their job. And I think like I saw images like I'm from Nottingham originally. You're in Nottingham right now, and that loads of people going out. And I saw like images of the police like rawly grabbing like students and like throwing them around and stuff, because they're
I think they need to get a bit more heavy-handed with these people. People they're taking liberties because they feel as though they can get away with it. So I'm just having a look here. It says outside of Bristol, crowds turned violent as Avon and Somerset police turned up to seize equipment and disperse the crowds, with around 500 people found holding a rave in a warehouse.
In a warehouse?
Yeah, in a warehouse, yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
The thing is, people are going to do that because nightclubs are closed, I'm pretty sure. People just, want to mix and socialise and party, which, I think those people, they're not kind of considering that situation. They just kind of don't care.
They're not, because they might think that their little bit of impact isn't going to impact the bigger picture. So they think, I can do this, get away with it. It's not really going to make much of a difference. But because they're all doing that, they're all going out, socialising, having these raves, having these parties. Where do we see ourselves now? We're in a proper lockdown again for the second time. We were only just put into tier 3, the localized lockdowns. And I mean, if people play by the rules, then we could have avoided what we're in now. You know, there's going to be very, very little human contact except at the end of the phone, or and it's all down to these people that just don't want to follow the rules. They just don't care. They think it doesn't apply to them.
What
they're sesh heads. They haven't got anything better to do, literally.
What do you think is the solution to that? What if you can think of a way to?
At the end of the day, it is a group effort. The government can only do so much unless they turned England into a police state, which they're not, because that's borderline Nazism. Well, that is Nazism, actually.
Yes. Well, like somewhere like North Korea, just shut everything down.
Yeah. I mean, the only real way is if people pull together, but people aren't doing that. As you saw last night, 500 in the warehouse. How many more raves and large gatherings are going on that we don't know about? And I know I was listening to BBC Radio 4 last night, and people are actually calling the police because of like their neighbours having parties and stuff, which I think is a bit much, really. If it's just like one or two people, and if they don't have like coronavirus, then
it's no more than 6 or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't call the police though on a neighbour having a party. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Did you see when the first lockdown happened in the Philippines? They said that if you're going out and you're not going to the supermarket, or if you go out past the curfew, that you'll get shot. That's what.
Really?
That's a bit step too far, really. I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, did it work?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm having a look here. So on the BBC website, they've published all the latest figures. I mean, I don't know how accurate these are, to be honest. And I'll go into why I think it's probably going to be inaccurate in just a sec. But it says here, total amount of cases, as we all know, has surpassed 1 million. So as of like an hour ago, it was 1,011,660. And out of that 1 million, 46,000 and a half people have died, which is savage. You know, that's too much. But I don't think it's 100% accurate, because it's been sort of revealed that on death certificates, if someone tested positive for coronavirus, say a few weeks ago, recovered, had an accident and died,
then COVID
would appear on a death certificate, and it might go towards stats like these, which I don't think is right. You know, that's bodging the figures.
Well, I was listening to a podcast, Joe Rogan, and they had is it Philip Jones or Alex Jones, and he's like a big conspiracy theorist guy.
He's crazy. Oh no, he's weird. He believes in like frog people. He's strange.
Yeah, some of the stuff is crazy that he believes in, but Joe Rogan was fact checking a lot of the stuff he was saying.
Okay.
And it was true. A lot of the stuff he was saying was true, and it was on Google, and it had been approved. He was talking about like vaccines, and he was talking about Bill Gates, and Bohemian Grove, and like secret societies. But he also touched base on the fact that the reported COVID cases, if it's a COVID case, like the government get money from it or something like that. Because I mean, they've got a different system over there. But he was saying like, you know, like similar to what you said, people who kind of haven't got COVID, they're marking it down as COVID because it goes on the stats and things like this. But I think as well, you know, you got to think about like, the care home situation as well. I mean, that I think that's been the controversy over the hospital cases and the care home cases, and all the rest of it. So I mean, and I think as well, they're kind of saying, you know, people have died from it. They're not saying if those people have got underlying health problems. Yeah. Because I think the majority of the people who are dying from it, or getting ill from it, really bad, have got underlying respiratory health problems or other underlying health problems like obesity. So it just makes people scared because people are dying from it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to die from it if you get it.
Yeah, if you're fit and healthy. I mean, if you looked after yourself, you know, reasonably well, you ate well, you exercised, you did whatever prior to this, then you've got a much better chance of surviving coronavirus. But yeah, a lot of the people, I say the majority, vast majority of people who died from coronavirus did have underlying health conditions that were, quite severe. I've yet to come across one case where someone's died and they were completely healthy, absolutely nothing wrong with them. But I'd say if you're a pensioner and you get coronavirus, you're in that sort of high risk bracket anyway, even if you are fit and healthy. But I think people like me and you, if we get coronavirus, we're fit and healthy. There's no wrong with us. Like me and you'd be fine. But
just won't be able to smell my favorite chocolate for about a month. I'll be like,
yeah, that's
it. Eating nettles out of the garden, like I can't even taste them.
Oh dear. Let's see what else the BBC has to say. Less than 1 in 10 beds taken by COVID patients. Isn't that a good thing?
What's that? Read that.
Yeah, it says less than 1 in 10 beds taken by COVID patients.
So for every 10 beds, one person is.
Yeah, well, that's good, isn't it?
I suppose so. I mean, the thing that isn't good in that term is when they have to cancel cancer patients off and prioritize COVID patients. I mean, that happened quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we're seeing massive waiting lists now for routine surgeries, and I heard on the radio last night that they're now cancelling like non-priority surgeries. So yeah, I mean, for instance, I've got to get my wisdom tooth pulled out.
Really? Is that being?
Well, I've not heard back anything. I was referred. I've not heard back. It needs to be done at Queen's though. Yeah, it needs to be done at Queen's because they've got to pull it out from underneath the gum, which sounds painful, I know. So I'd need to be what's it called when they put you to sleep there? So they put me under the local anaesthetic and pull the tooth out under the gum, but I've not heard anything back, and I've been waiting ages. So that's probably not going to be till next year now, I imagine, seeing as today's now the 1st of November.
I think if it was detrimental pain, then they will. But obviously, if it's not, if you can't obviously speak or it's that bad, then literally, they'd get you in. I mean,
it's fine. I mean, it only flares up every now and then, and it flares up because it's too much pressure on the gums. There's not enough room for it to sort of.
Did you have an X-ray? Did you have an X-ray?
I've had an X-ray. Yeah, I had an X-ray.
Because the wisdom teeth, they come down at an angle.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And then they twist into place. Because I had them come through mine, and when lockdown happened, I had pains in my wisdoms in the first lockdown, and I was paranoid because I was like, I'm gonna have to have my wisdom taken out, and then I broke my tooth during lockdown. Like I had like a small crack in my tooth.
How?
I was eating like a pasty, like a Cornish pasty, and there was just this snap noise, and I had a small hole in my tooth, and I had that for like 3 months, so I had to keep cleaning it and all that.
Yeah.
And then when everything's got restrictions got eased, this is another problem as well. I don't know if this is widespread, but in Cornwall, there's a lack of NHS dentists.
Okay.
And if you want anything done, or you want to sign up, there's like a 2-year waiting list. For me to get a checkup, they said, "Oh yeah, you're probably waiting about a year and a half if you're lucky."
No.
So I had no alternative but to go to a private dentist to get it sorted for about £180.
I remember you telling me about that now, actually. I remember you piping up on WhatsApp about how much it costs to get your tooth sorted. Yeah, I remember that now. That's crazy, though. That is absolutely crazy. Yeah, I was with a private dentist. I'm not now. Well, I think I still am actually, but
they are good.
So just on BBC website, so they've got like little subcategories going on here. So it says here, what are the social distancing rules? So I'll just kind of read these off. It's still the 2 meter, and if you can't stay 2 meter, at least 1 meter. Buenos. It's the same in Scotland, Wales.
Did you see what Wales? Did you see what happened in Wales? Because there's a lot of controversy because the government said non-essential items you can't buy, So they
Yeah.
put polystyrene over books. You couldn't buy books. You couldn't buy kids' clothing. And a guy went in there, took it off, and he got done for criminal damage.
He did, didn't he? He did. I saw that in Lad Bible. Yeah. What was it? Who was it? I think it was Nigel Farage, good old Nigel. He said,
Good old
that Nigel for Britain. Yeah. I think it was nice that said that banning the sale of non-essential items is just going to put more money in the pockets of like Amazon. And the high street in England, the shops, they're struggling enough as it is. You know, you walk down a local high street, you're going to see shops that once were open, they're now boarded up, especially in the more deprived areas, at least. And this banning of non-essential items essentially means people are going to look online. And where's the first thing? If you wanted to buy a book and you really wanted it, where's the first place you would look if you couldn't go to a high street store? Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Get it tomorrow.
Any item. Like if people are scared to go out, or as part of lockdown they can't go out and they need something, they're just going to go to Amazon, aren't they? And they're going to get much richer, much bigger, and we're going to see, and that's going to have its impact on the economy because Amazon doesn't pay tax in England because the ground on which they're located, they've said it's a different country.
It's in it's Switzerland or it's somewhere, because when I've bought things on Amazon, it always say what's the capital? Oh, my geography's terrible. Yeah, it's somewhere in Europe where there's no tax.
Yeah, where they don't pay tax, even though it's physically in England, so you can drive there and you can see it. It's a different country, man. Different country. Obviously, we don't need to pay tax. But these smaller businesses, they were paying their tax. They're contributing to the economy. Amazon isn't. So the economy is going to go down as Amazon gets richer and richer because they're not contributing. They're providing jobs, sure, but these jobs, they're minimum wage, they're long hours, stressful. You know, I've seen the undercover documentary of the Amazon fulfillment centers, which is the warehouses, and the conditions there are disgraceful.
They get timed when they go to the bathroom as well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's everything. And what it is, they get this little scanner thing where they scan the item and it will tell you if it's the right item. That's how they pick it. And it makes like this beeping sound. And employees are complaining that they're going home at night hearing the beeping sound.
Oh my God. In
bed, like through the night, because that's all they're hearing all day is beep, beep, beep. And they take it home with them. And they don't exactly get paid a lot. So yeah, it's crap, man. They get treated like absolute vermin at Amazon. If you're not important to the people at the top, you're not important at all.
Obviously, I won't go off topic too much, but obviously, fallout shelter, that noise. Hearing that all day, go to bed.
just imagine Liam having nightmares of that sound now. But yeah,
it's definitely bad. And I heard a podcast, somebody was saying like there's more slavery going on now in the modern times than there were back in the day.
I mean,
when modern day slavery.
Yeah, modern day slavery.
It's kind of like slavery in some way.
It is, man. Like it is modern day slavery. You know, they're instead of chains, it's just policies and regulations and stuff. People have got less and less rights. But
yeah, but do you know with the things that we're talking about, like the current affairs, and the news tends to just publish a lot of negative things.
Yeah.
What in a positive light, on the flip side, how do you think? This is just on my mind. How do you think people can kind of see the positive out of all this? Do you know what I mean? With coronavirus, do you think with the news, like ways people can help their mental health? Because I think that's one of the main things that get affected throughout this whole thing.
Right. What you mean? So do you want to talk about the mental health aspect of lockdown, or do you want to talk about the positive side of
yeah, like how people can help themselves, like whether this is like your own opinion and what works for you, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, That's
Whether
that's a really good question. Yeah.
yeah, but whether that's like
Um,
exercise or reading books, or
I,
do you know what I mean?
I would say exercise is the most important thing. I think if you're feeling stressed out, if you go for a walk, even if it's just around the block, and yeah, that's definitely a good way. Is exercising is so key. That's why they're letting people out do exercise during lockdown, because it keeps you fit and healthy, obviously, and also because it improves your mood. But yeah, obviously I've read online that mental health is a massive thing for people in lockdown, especially if they live by themselves. It can get quite lonely. The only people they're going to be talking to is down the phone. It's not actual face-to-face
Face, yeah.
interaction, which is what people need. They crave that, and they're just not getting that. So yeah, it is a massive problem. And I remember at the first lockdown, there was sort of not controversy, but there was the sort of opinion that the lockdown itself is killing more people than the actual virus. Now, whether that's talking about suicide, I'm not 100% sure, but I know where they're coming from. I think I can see why people would be, really, really affected by
Mm.
the lockdown. Um, I mean, luckily for me, I had an easy time during lockdown. It was basically just, without sounding insensitive, it was just one big extended holiday from work for me. Like, I didn't have to go to work for it's like 4 or 5 months, something
Mm.
ridiculous like that.
But you're in a fortunate position to you work from home, don't you? Like remote work. You're
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah.
Like you're quite
So
fortunate to do that. You don't have to go
yeah,
into like what you do for work, but you remote work.
yeah, 100%. I'm fortunate in the sense that throughout the first lockdown, my pay wasn't affected in the slightest, and it won't be now because I'm continuing to work from home now anyway. Um, I mean, I don't mind working from home. It's a bit boring, and I miss the people in the office, but
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
what it is. We've all got to do our bit
yeah, yeah,
and I still managed to get out. I still go do my exercise. I live next to the
yeah,
Ashford
yeah,
Nature Reserve now, don't I?
yeah.
So that's literally on my doorstep. So
It's nice
sometimes
there.
before work, I'll just go down and have a walk around. And first thing in the morning, it's a bit chilly, sure, but there's no one around. The sun's just setting, and you get some great photos. It's I feel really privileged to live next to
Mm, mm.
Ashford Nature Reserve, 100%. And it's just started raining now, bro. Shock. It was well warm this morning. Did you notice? I don't know what it was
Yeah,
like in Cornwall. I walked out and it was like t-shirt weather.
yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
unpredictable the weather sometimes, especially here.
yeah,
But no, I think like you said, exercise and being around nice surroundings definitely do help. And I think as well, connecting with the right people. You
hmm
don't want to be around certain kinds of people or looking
yeah.
at
Or
negative
online.
things on. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
and
you kept pretty busy during lockdown by doing more and more podcasts. You really ramped it up. So you were always communicating with people throughout
yeah,
throughout lockdown, weren't you? Yeah,
yeah.
which
No,
is
I
good.
think yeah. I mean, we're social beings. To me, I won't go too much into it, but like, I like connecting with you, and we always stay in contact. And I think things like that help. Things like this help, and I
Yeah,
think you kind of need to. People need to be aware of what they do like and what they don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, be self-aware of what pisses you off and the things
mhm,
that don't, and the things that motivate you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah,
don't look at the news for 20 minutes if it's going to piss you off for the rest of the day.
yeah.
Look at it for
Exactly. Yeah,
five.
that's it's a self-destructive behavior. That is looking at something that you know is going to annoy you, but you look at it anyway.
it's a
But
it's a vicious cycle sometimes.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, yeah. That's my advice really for lockdown is socialize online as much as you can. I think you're allowed to meet people from a different household, but it can only be that one household. You can't meet them and then go on to another. Basically, you will be able to have some form of human contact during lockdown. So I recommend making the most of that. Um,
So what we can still meet people from
well,
one household?
it says here.
Is it just family members or friends?
How can I meet other people safely? Um, Social distancing is a key element of meeting others safely. The only people you do not need to socially distance from people in your household, anyone in your support bubble, your partner in an established relationship. Otherwise, when seeing anybody else, you must follow social distancing rules, avoid physical contact like a handshake or hug, not be too close or face to face, and not shout or sing too close to them. That's weird. Sing too close to
in the park.
I don't want to set the world
Yeah.
on fire.
It's definitely one song I'll definitely sing out.
Yeah, so I'm just looking up support rules here because that was a little subsection of what I've just read out. What is a support bubble? So a support bubble is defined as a group of people with whom you have close physical contact. In England, single adults living alone or single parents whose children are under 18 can form a support bubble with one other household. So you do get the option for some sort of physical interaction.
But just to get this straight, this is in the United Kingdom and England. If ever people are listening or watching this is just England's rules, so it's going to be different.
Yeah, so this is England only. I don't believe this extends beyond England.
They'll have their own rules elsewhere.
With Scotland and Wales. Oh, okay. So, yeah, you can even extend that across the border. So, yeah, I don't know what the rules are outside of the UK.
In the States, they have their own rules in each state and all the rest of it. So, I mean, it's completely
they've got a crazy amount of cases in the States. Absolutely crazy. And I think Donald Trump has gone on like they're beating the virus and all of that, but I don't think they are. I don't think it was right of Trump to do that. Maybe it was making a political point. I mean, I love Trump. Don't get me wrong. You know that. But,
he's talking about
it. He's greatly exaggerated how well the US is coping with the virus. You know, it's really, really bad out there.
I saw that Borat too, and I won't go too much into the film, but there's a scene where he storms where Pence is giving a speech, and this is during the beginning of coronavirus, and Pence is like, "There's only one case in these states. We've only got one case," and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it's just exploded over there or everywhere. But I've got friends in the States and connections, and it's been difficult for them. I mean, same really for us, but in some of the states, like especially LA, there's a massive homeless population which has just increased, and they can't really do anything. There's nothing they can do. So there's two sides to the coin. I think with every situation, especially this. I think you have to be grateful for where you are in your current situation, because there's always someone else who's a lot worse off.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So I think there's a silver lining to it. That's the way I see it. I think focus on the things that you can control instead of the things that you can't, like the news, like coronavirus. You can't control all that.
Yeah,
that's not gonna make your state of mind any better if you're focusing on the things you can't control. Because
100%. Yeah, you've just got to focus on ensuring that you're, as we spoke about, staying active, just doing what makes you happy, so long as you're allowed to do that in the remit of the current law, obviously. I think we will get through this. Whether it will be over in December, I doubt it.
Yeah.
I think Gove was right in the sense that it will go beyond December, and I know that the government was trying to say that it will be all okay for Christmas. I don't think it will be. This coronavirus thing is going to stay for a long time, which is a shame. But we've all got to do our bit to beat it.
Yeah,
we've all got to put our finger out.
Yeah, it's a bit off topic, but you've got like a pet. Do you think it's helped having a pet?
I mean, because I've always grown up around animals. I've never really looked at it and gone, yes, you helped me during lockdown. No, I don't think, because I got him like halfway through lockdown, because I wanted one anyway, even prior to lockdown. But I never really. I can see why people would have that sort of emotional attachment to their pets, especially dogs. That we're more treating like humans than dogs.
Yeah, mine
Yeah, I
are
mean,
like alarm clocks with legs.
yeah, they basically are. Yeah, mine licks my head when it's time to get up in the morning.
Pure sandpaper tongue.
Yeah, it is. It is like gives me a little hair wash, and then I have to go and wash my hair, and it hurts. Like I'm surprised I don't get like red patches from like the skin he's taking off with his brittle tongue. It's horrible. But no, I can see why people would definitely have that sort of. They look at their pet and go, "Oh, you really helped me during lockdown." I mean, I love my pet, but I don't think he saved me during lockdown. But yeah, no, I can see why people would feel like that 100%,
Yeah.
especially people that are living alone.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've got the option now for support groups, as we've just mentioned, so they can mingle with someone. It says here, if you're single, 2 single people each living alone could bubble. So that means if you're single and you're seeing someone and they live by themselves, you two could be together. That's what it says here. Someone in a house share could bubble, but their housemates won't be allowed to form their own bubbles with other people. Oh, right, okay. You kind of take off the two.
They are. I think some of the rules are pretty complex. I think you have to just kind of read them carefully because they can get misinterpreted or miss.
Yeah, I mean, when we came out of lockdown and Boris has given his sort of speeches and his sort of updates in Parliament as to what we could and couldn't do, I saw the internet blow up with memes about you can do this, but you can't do this. It's like you can go to the park and mingle with 6 people unless it's a Sunday or something like that. It was just weird stuff like that didn't really make much sense, and that's why people sort of went, But I have to give credit to the government. They are trying incredibly hard and they're really proactive about this. They're setting out the rules, but it's just a shame people aren't following it. So when it all goes to hell, and we're now in the second lockdown, people are going, "Oh, the government." It's not their fault. It's the people that aren't obeying the rules, and they're not doing their bit to, I think, beat this thing.
To not sound like pessimistic, but I think you're always going to have those kind of people who, regardless, were like, it's not real. That's another thing. People saying it's not real. You're like, really? Okay, cool. God.
They're getting a kick out of it, aren't they? Obviously, it's real. Weirdos.
Yeah, I know, but no, I think, like you said, we just need to be careful. Use your common sense. Be grateful for where you are, and there are a lot of people out there who've got it worse off.
100%. Yeah. There's always something like, even if you're sad, feeling low, always, as you said, 100% think there's always someone who's got it worse, and maybe reach out to people who've got it worse, who have got it worse. Check in on them.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do something to help. Maybe you might make their day. That kind of thing. I mean, during the first lockdown, I identified quite a few people who had it quite bad, and I'd reach out to them, see how it was, see if there's anything I could do, because that's what being a good neighbour is all about. Yeah,
it's how the world works, like you what you give out, you get back. I like to think that's the way I kind of look at it.
100%.
And people will remember that as well. They'll be like, oh, when I felt X, Y, Z, that person was there.
Yeah, exactly. I think it has brought people closer together, the lockdown. Some people will be sick of seeing their families day in, day out. Others will, maybe it's sort of like mended stuff within families if they're forced into lockdown. You never know. We'll just have to see how it plays out over the next month or two and see what happens. But I don't think I'm going to be allowed to see my family for Christmas Day. I don't think that we'll be allowed to do that because we live in separate households, obviously.
See how it pans out. I mean, you just see how it pans out.
We will.
Just throw the Christmas presents over the fence.
Just lob it. Yeah. See you next year.
Yeah.
All right, man. Shall we?
Cool. Sweet. But no, it's been good chatting again. And
likewise.
No,
we'll do another one soon. We'll do we'll actually get around to doing our review of a movie or documentary. That's next on the agenda. So
that's another thing I'll mention. We're planning on I'm still doing this podcast, but we're going to do our own podcast alongside it, where we watch films or documentaries, and then do reviews about it, and both have our say on it. So stay tuned for that. But no, Tom, have a great day, and I wish you all the best.
Likewise. Cheers, Adam. Thanks very much, mate.
No, you're welcome, mate.
See you. Bye.